or if you always want to hashtag it, our new thing, right, with the picks, because we've been on fire, right? Say it, play it, back it, and stack it. That's how well we've been doing with our picks. All right, so you got the Ruggs stuff, you got the Aaron Rodgers stuff, you got the Braves winning the World Series, you got some NBA action, you got the Simmons nonsense, you got Week 9 already in the NFL. I mean, are you kidding me? How fast the season is going. As always, we'd like to welcome in our good friend, the fantasy exec, Corey Parson, senior sports betting content creator at NBC Sports Bet. Corey, how you been, pal?
Rich, what's going on with you, my man? How's the past couple of weeks been going for you?
Everything's been going well. Hit a really nice run and a really nice streak. I actually had Titans money line, had 49ers money line, the Giants covered, which is another disaster. I was outright missed the boat on the Lions. I had the Lions on the money line. That was a horrible play. And then we had the Steelers as well. So the last couple weeks, one weekend 5-0. The other weekend 4-1, and I think 2-2-1 or 3-2 last weekend. So not bad. What about yourself?
Oh, doing good. That sounds good. Let me guess that you had the Lions versus the Eagles. That to me, I was all over the Eagles. That when the Lions play hard one week and they quit the next week. But everything's been so good so far. You know what I'm saying? Kind of a slow start to the basketball season, but starting to heat up pretty good right now. But I think we got a pretty good feel for the NFL. Yeah,
one comment real quick to piggyback what you said. You're right. I mean, there's that one game during the season where everyone, and again, I bought into it, right? Well, they're due, they play hard. Man, I mean, if you wanted to be aggressive and put down some coin on the Eagles, you had a really nice payday because that game was not even remotely competitive. I mean, that's a rake the leaves type of game. That you go to halftime, you're like, you know what, I'm done. I'm going to cash my ticket. I'm good.
Yeah, and you know what? I wish I'd used that the Eagles and survivor that we did a good play for the game blown up like everybody did with the Bengals and almost with the Giants. But you know, here's the thing about the Lions. Every week people talk about how they play hard. You can't take they play hard to the window.
No, you can't. It's an X factor. It's you're right. It's a tangible thing, but it's not. See, you're betting the number, right? You're not betting the team. And
yeah, exactly.
That was. Perfect example. So yesterday, I grabbed the Packers at even. And then we find out today with Aaron Rodgers because, you know, look, Kansas City's struggling. Now, I might turn around, and if that line goes back up, I'm sorry, I grabbed the Chiefs. I'm looking at it. I grabbed the Chiefs yesterday. If that line continues to go up, I might hedge. If that line goes up to 8.5, 9, you know, I don't know. Do I take the Packers and hedge, or do I tease the Chiefs with another squad?
You know what's so funny that you mentioned that? We were doing the show this morning on our NBC Bet the Edge, and we had Dale, the Hall of Fame NASCAR driver Dale Jarrett on, and we were talking about the Aaron Rodgers thing. When we brought him in, he said tease the Packers. It shocked me when he said that because I didn't even think he paid attention. But he said, no, tease the Packers. So listen, maybe that's the play. We saw the backup quarterbacks come in and do their thing last week. Let's see how much Jordan Love has learned these past couple of weeks, learning and sitting behind Brett Favre, sitting behind Aaron Rodgers. So maybe that's the play. Maybe you do tease the Packers. But you know what? You do have a real good position, a real good chance to double pop this one. So I hope you pick the right side.
Yeah, no, I do. I really, you're right. I mean, I got to play this one smart. And then the same thing, I grabbed Arizona, which was a pick-em, and now they're laying 1.5. So that tells me they're leaning towards Murray playing.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like, and I do like him if Murray does play. The problem is this is going to be a thing moving forward. See, because Murray is such a slight guy, you know what I'm saying? So by the time you get this deep into the season, those nicks and knacks are going to start building up on him, and he may be playing, but it's not going to be 100%. I don't see him being 100% no more. I think the play right now is to buy into the Rams to win the NFC West.
Yeah. I mean, you would, well, and think about this, right? I think they went from 750 to maybe 700 after the move for Von Miller. I mean, they didn't move substantially, but you're right. I mean, if you think about it, it's probably the nice play.
Yeah, because right now you can get the Rams at, you know, it's just even money, you know what I'm saying? So that's really not too much. But at even money, you can get the Rams to win the NFC West and you can probably get the Rams for a pretty decent price to win the NFC if you want to go that route. But the Von Miller thing is not really going to move it. He's not the player that he used to be. But what he can do with the Rams is he can play. He doesn't have to be a full-time player. You can keep him fresh, you can keep him rested, use him, you know what I'm saying, the pass rush and stuff like that. But he's not going to come in there and be the dominant force he once was.
No, but a situational pass rusher, and if you got a prop for him for a sack or more this weekend, I would probably grab it.
Yeah, no, I would like that too, because like you said, now him not having to be counted on to lead the defense and play a whole game is kind of probably the way he needs to be played right now.
Yeah, no. I tend to agree with you. How about that Thursday night game? The Jets are getting 10.5. You know, there's a reporter out of Indianapolis that was calling for Carson Wentz to be benched. I mean, they're a bad team at home, but again, you've got still the unknown. I know White came out of nowhere. It's still the unknown. Stick them on the road. The Jets, at the end of the day, are a bad team, but we mentioned you play the number. Do you like the Jets in that spot to cover almost 11?
Man, that's a tough. Listen, here's the thing. I'm a face the trendy dog guy. Was talking with the trade over at PointsBet this morning, and you got a lot of money coming on the Jets this week. And like you said, mainly because of that number, that 10.5. And listen, you don't want to lay 10.5 with Carson Wentz because it's like, I think just when I get out, they pull me back in. You know, I'm looking at Carson Wentz, and I'm like, oh, wow, look at this. Carson Wentz is coming along. He's playing good. And then, boom, last week he looked like Carson Wentz from those last couple of years in Philadelphia all over again. So it's kind of tough. I guess, and listen, I normally, this year I have not been playing too many Thursday night games. I would lay low on this one, but I couldn't stomach laying 10.5 points with Carson Wentz. So I would be on the Jet side of it.
Yeah, I mean, there are some games that I call them the looky but don't touch, especially with some teams going through a lot of things. Now, I said this, and I wasn't trying to be disrespectful in any fashion. The Raiders have so many issues, and the Giants should have won the other night. I have no problem taking the Giants in the 3 at home against the Raiders, and they got to go cross-country. I think it's just I think it's a horrible story, and they released them, but now all of a sudden the air's kind of taken out of that team. And, again, I'm not trying to make light of it in no way, shape, or form. But at the end of the day, if you're going to bet this game, I would actually bet the side of the Giants.
Now, that's interesting. Interesting way to look at it. And I didn't really think about it that way. With myself, just looking at the pure numbers, and Daniel Jones, 6-14
at home.
ATS at home.
Yep, I know.
That doesn't seem like that's a coincidence. You know what I'm saying? So I really don't like that. And listen, the Raiders are playing good football. We saw how they was able to push through the Giants Gruden thing, and they worked out this right here. Obviously, like you said, you want to look to the situation much different. This guy, though, I can't pronounce his name, but everybody's saying this guy is squared away and is a good head coach. So once again, he has another challenge put ahead of him. Let's see what he does with it. I think the Raiders are interesting. I'll be on the Raiders this week.
The only thing I'm worried about is that you had all these COVID tests for the Giants, which scares me a little bit. Some players, I know Judge was doing his presser outside. You know, you're right. I might give it more thought. I mean, put it this way. It's not the game that I have to have this weekend. Yeah. It's just not. Same thing with the Browns in Cincinnati, right? Cincinnati's coming off a bad loss. They're laying 2.5. You still got Mayfield still a little nicked up. All right, stay home, Odell, which is not shocking to me at all. This might be my look, but don't touch. If anything, I would probably tee Cincinnati down to get points and make it plus 4.5.
Yeah, if you could take Cincinnati to that 3, I think that would be a good way to go. I probably would try to get the Brownies straight up, thinking that, listen, I think, not having Odell could be addition by subtraction.
Yeah.
We've seen this kind of thing happen with Odell before. Obviously, this is not the kind of wide receiver that Baker Mayfield is going to be successful with. Baker Mayfield is a smaller guy. He can't see anybody in the pocket. He's not going to try to throw the football that deep down the field over those routes Odell likes to run. So, it's kind of like the Jeremy Shockey thing. Eli Manning played his best football when Shockey left. You know what I'm saying? So that sometimes that deeper wide receiver can really be a drain on the quarterback and a drain on the team. So I think addition by subtraction could be very well be the case. But I like Cleveland to have a bounce back one this week. That number opened up at 3. We've seen it tick down to where down they're only getting 2.5. So, listen, when you got that 2.5 for the Bengals just sitting out there, I think I would go in the opposite direction. The Bengals, they went up there and they got that big victory over the Ravens. Then expectations set in. And when expectations set in, we get to see what they're really made of.
Yeah, it's a fair point. I'm not touching the Texans or Dolphins. I'm not even going to touch that Atlanta, New Orleans game. I'll tell you when that's interesting because I still have to figure out. I got to close my Arizona play, and I have to close my Green Bay play with Kansas City. What about so let's just say with that Kansas City, you tease that down to essentially a point or so, which I can live with Dallas laying 10. Basically, if it was 9, that would be wonderful to get to 3. But again, that line's telling me that all signs are Dak is going to play, even if he's not 100%. Denver stinks. They can't move the football at all.
No, I don't mind Dallas. And listen, as a fan, I'm going to always be very pessimistic when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. I've seen this act before. But I tell you what, this looks different. I think they landed on the Broncos this week. I think they get out there. I think they really beat the Broncos down pretty good. The Broncos cannot score the football with the Dallas Cowboys. So I think this one could get ugly. So I'm actually laying this big rope with the Dallas Cowboys. What we've seen this year, Rich, is these favorites of 10 or more points, 8-4 against the spread.
That's not bad. You just got to pick and choose your moment, right? I mean, because some of the lines, they want to scare the betting public away because you just say to yourself, that's too high. Like, for instance, the other day, what was it? It was the Rams game against the Texans, right? That line was 16.5, and you got the late score, and all of a sudden, boom, they went by 16. So now you got Buffalo laying 14.5 on the road against a very bad Jacksonville team. Those kind of lines, I just kind of steer clear of.
You know what? Normally I would, but I've been enjoying them this year. I've been hitting them pretty good. I caught a lot of these, so I've been lucky in that sense. Now I rooted the Rams last week, so I was happy about that. And I was on the Bills last week. They got the 15-point win on the Cowboys this week. So I've been having luck with some of these bigger spreads. Now this week with Buffalo and Jacksonville, I wouldn't touch. Jacksonville has actually played better. They're not going to beat the Buffalo Bills, obviously. But it seems like Urban Meyer is starting to get his groove a little bit. The quarterback is playing well. You know what I'm saying? But I would lay off. I think the Bills could hammer, but I kind of would lay off this one this week. I don't want to go back to the well too many times. And if I like any double-digit spread this week, it's going to be the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay. That's a fair point. Baltimore is laying 6. Total number is 49. Juice to the over 49.5. Look, the Vikings, bad loss against the Dallas Cowboys. Just when you thought you figured out the Vikings, they're such an enigma at the end of the day. Still, with Cousins, who put up some really nice numbers thus far this season. And then you got Baltimore. That to me, that's the game that entices you, where if you want to close a tease, basically tease it down. And in essence, you got Baltimore at a pick 'em. Or if you're really confident in the Ravens, now granted, they got waxed by Cincinnati, so maybe they're so ticked off that they take it out on Minnesota, and then you got the issue with Harrison getting shot in the leg by that stray bullet, so they've got some issues as well. I mean, is this a game you would play?
If I do anything on this one, it's going to be the over. You look at the situation with Baltimore. Their passing defense has not been good the past couple of weeks. Maybe they fix it over the bye week. I don't know. I'm willing to bet that. Take a shot that they didn't. And then you look at Minnesota. They're getting lit up by, lesser quarterbacks than Lamar Jackson the past couple of weeks as well. So I'm looking at this total right here sitting at 49, tick up to 49.5. I would play the over in this game. That's the best angle I really could find on it, that over 49.5. I think we can get into a shootout scenario in Baltimore. Because, listen, they got some – one thing about Minnesota, they can move the football. They can get up and down with Cousins and Jefferson and Thielen, and Baltimore can strike right back with Lamar in that running game.
Yeah, so you got to figure, can Baltimore get me 30? Can the Vikings get me 17 to 23? If they can get 20 to 23, you're golden, right? Because of that hook at 49.5. So that's a play that I wrote down. How about the Chargers and the Eagles? I mean, I look at this line, right? Are we still buying into the West Coast? Got to go to the East Coast. Eagles, is this public perception now because the Eagles just waxed a very bad team? But I'll caution the betting public out there. But if Eagles haven't won a game at home yet.
No, and I wouldn't fool with the Eagles in this one. And you know what, that West Coast coming east, I think a lot of these things are starting to feel like relics of sports betting or things of the past. We've seen home field advantage almost look like a fallacy this year. And then also this year, short road favorites have been doing very good. ATS, I think, hitting somewhere at about 57 to 58%, and that's what you got this week with the Chargers being a short road favorite. Number opened up at 3, ticked down. Now it's starting to push back the other way. It's got some 2s around, got some 1.5s. So Chargers coming off a bad week, Eagles coming off a good week. But I think the Chargers go out there and get it done this week. A money line play will probably be best. Or you want to tease the Chargers, go through the 3.5 the other way. I think that could be a good look. But I would be on the Chargers this one. The Eagles, I don't see the Eagles bringing it back-to-back week. And I've been good with the Eagles. I might be undefeated with handicapping the Eagles so far this year.
Rams are laying 7.5. There's only one play I like in this, and that's if Peterson's active, then I would play him for a rushing touchdown and perhaps a receiving touchdown. I did last week when they activated Jordan Howard for the Eagles. I figure, all right, goal line situation, he might get 1. He got 2. So that's the only play. Other than that, I don't want to touch this game. I don't. Even though the Rams should win the game 7.5, I'm just not comfortable with that.
Man, that hook with the Titans is intriguing. Yeah, that hook with the Titans is intriguing. Catching that 7.5, I think the Rams win the football game. But I think I would, this is not a game I'm taking to the window. But if I was to get behind this one, I would take Tennessee getting that hook at 7.5.
Any other? The Monday night that doesn't stand out. Any other thing from this weekend that maybe we didn't go over that you might like, even a prop?
I'm not really seeing anything that I'm really into too much right now. But the one thing that is interesting is I like to say the Atlanta Falcons. The Saints laying that 5.5, depending on where you look. There's some 6s out there. Could be interesting. Sean Payton has done a fabulous job, whether it be Teddy Bridgewater, whether it be Jameis Winston, Trevor Siemian now.
Yep.
He knows how to coach these backup quarterbacks up and get them ready to roll. They got a home game. Yes, it's a division opponent, but Atlanta is not nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I think maybe I would lay that number with the Saints at home. I think the Saints could get hot. They're not going to catch the Buccaneers, but the Saints are a playoff team in the NFC. Atlanta Falcons are not nowhere near that.
How about the under?
Well, that's interesting way to look at that one, too. That under could come in because New Orleans is going to shut Atlanta down.
I can see like a...
This is a low total, too.
Yeah,
Matter of fact, it's dropped. I see 41.5 now.
Yeah, see, 20 to 10, 20 to 13, which obviously wouldn't help us, but I'd have to look a little more at that game. 4:40 on a Wednesday edition of BYP. Rich Quinones here. Corey Parsons joining us for a couple moments. Don't forget, Rothstein in the 5 o'clock hour. All right, let's go to the hardwood. And not a bad, I would say, 3 to 4 games over the course of 3 to 4 nights for myself, picking some winners. I don't really go too heavy, to be honest, with the NBA. It just scares the bejeebuses out of me with the backdoor covers late. But I'll give you 2 games that I do like tonight. 2 of them. I think the Celtics stink, and they're laying 7 against the Magic. So guess what? I'll grab the Magic and the points. And and maybe I'm being biased here, but my Knicks have to rebound. They play very well on the road. Bad loss the other night. I like the Knicks in this spot against Indiana.
I like both of those things you mentioned right now. I'll talk about the Boston Celtics, though. The Celtics are in trouble. The Celtics are not going to be a playoff team this year. If you can still get that Celtics to miss the playoffs, I know at one point it was plus 375. I would hammer that. Boston, 2 wins on the season. And one of the wins is the Orlando Magic. We've already seen some finger pointing and some infighting with the Boston Celtics. I think, listen, if Orlando does not win the game, they'll get this cover. The Celtics are not 7 points better than anybody at this point in the season. Blew that big lead against the Bulls the other night. The Boston Celtics look to be in trouble. I think Orlando can go ahead and cover this number tonight. I like the Orlando Magic a lot tonight.
How about the Philadelphia 76ers? And you said it, and my guy Jonathan Marshall said it with the Bulls, man. Vastly improved, 3-0 on the road. 76ers, the Bulls are coming in 3-game winning streak. 76ers got a couple of injured players, right, that are going to be out. You still got to deal with the Ben Simmons issue. I believe we're going to start to get into the load management with the big man as well, sooner rather than later. Who do you like in this one?
This is an interesting spot right here. This Bulls team, all of a sudden, they've become a very public team. The public likes the Bulls a lot this year. And listen, they're playing well. The Bulls look like a very good team. They look like they're going to be a seed in the Eastern Conference and not going to be in that play-in talking, obviously, the 76ers are one of the better teams in the Eastern Conference as well. Looking at and handicapping this game tonight, I'm going to go with the Philadelphia 76ers. I think the 76ers are going to be able to come out here and get the victory and get this job done tonight. I know the Bulls are 3-0 on the road, but they really had no business running that game other night versus Boston, besides Boston being terrible, let them come back and get in that game. But the 76ers, catching Chicago, second game of this road trip, I think that the 76ers, I think it's going to be one of a very good basketball game. I think the 76ers get the win mainly because the 76ers have played in these games before, these marquee games, these marquee in-conference matchups. Then the Bulls team is still young and coming together and, learning each other as a group, whereas the 76ers have done this before. I think the 76ers get the win tonight.
Any other plays of interest?
This Portland Trailblazer team is not good at all. And I saw this number open up at 3, and I was like, interesting. Let me just wait on it. We've seen some 6s now. I talked to one trader, got close to 90% of the money in this game on the Trailblazers. And I'm like, why?
Against the Cavs.
They don't have against the Cavs. They don't have a single road victory this year. They were something like 2-5 straight up, 3-3 straight up, 2-5 against the spread. They don't play no defense. This Cleveland team, 4-4, 5-3 versus the spread. Cleveland is a very tough team. They got good young talent. They compete every night. Yeah, I like the Cavaliers to cover the spread, and I'm expecting something on the money line. This is the Trailblazers' third straight road game. I know they don't favor the team for that fourth straight road game, but the Trailblazers are not playing good basketball this year. Dame's struggling. They're not playing defense. And the Cavaliers, they don't have Kevin Love tonight, but people don't know this. Kevin Love is really a base player for the Cavaliers now. They're going with those young guys, so I like Cleveland to come out here tonight and I'll get the best of the Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah, the last 2 road games, they lost by 12 to the Hornets, 10 to the Sixers, shorthanded Sixers team, by the way, 113-103. They didn't cover as well. I'm looking on here. Do I see any Thursday night football? Hold on a second. Do we get any FBS plays today or what?
I don't have no FBS. I haven't been no FBS handicap this week. But next time I come on, I'll make sure I have some FBS football for you. Hey, I saw you doing some boxing commentary over the weekend. How did that go?
Oh, it went well. We were, I do it for Boxing TV. It's a PPV streaming platform, and then we redistribute sometimes on SNY or Comcast or CBS. I was in Newburgh at the Armory, which, it's funny, I remember as a kid, my father took me there we're talking a long time ago, man, but my cousin who's been in the military for about 25 plus years, that's where they used to have drill. So he recommended a couple places to go eat, and I was like, look, man, I drove up on a Saturday. I showered when I was in the hotel, grabbed my notes, have to be over there to do all, like, our pre-production stuff and then our cold opening. And he's like, just do me a favor. He's like, when you're done, get the hell out of there. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then I Google. I had no idea. Newburgh was like one of the top 3 or 4 worst cities in the country. And it just so happens between the co-main and the main event, they had the police chief, the mayor out, and Eric B. was actually there singing. And they mentioned about the violence in the area, and they had a mother, unfortunately, that lost her son in a drive-by, and it kind of like resonated with me. I'm like, wow, my cousin was 100% dead on, and I kind of intertwined it in the broadcast because a lot of people, a lot of these fighters, they try to get off the street, so that's one of the reasons they turn to boxing. So all in all, it turned into a good night. About 7 fights on the card. I know they'll be having a card there again on the 18th. But, yeah, it was a fun time. I did it with Kevin Kelly, whose nickname is the Flushing Flash. So that's not a bad nickname.
No, that's a pretty cool nickname. And That's good. That's, had a nice time, and sorry to hear about all that stuff going down in Newburgh. That's terrible.
Yeah, I didn't. I honestly, I
would not never believe that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, you're 100%. I listen. I used to live in Voorhees years ago, but I was always doing some stuff in Camden, and Camden off of Federal Street. If you know anything about South Jersey, yeah, in Camden. I mean, I hate to say it, that's like almost as bad as some places in the Northeast. I mean, that's a war zone. And then when I looked at some of the stats and statistics, I was like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. But yeah.
One time, Rich, my daughter was younger. She was spending some time with me in the city, and I was taking her back to meet her mother. Her mother met me halfway in Camden. And I remember me and my daughter came outside the Camden train station, and my daughter's little girl, she's like 3 or 4 years old. She's like, Daddy, I'm scared. I'm like, me too. Camden's a rough spot.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, it's not. Yeah, listen, man. I always say this, and it's you always, whatever city you go into, however you get in, you better know how to get out. That's just, and I just keep it at that, man, because everyone always thinks they can play the part, and this doesn't bother me or scare. Man, I've seen many cats jump in their cars and disperse very quickly over the years. So, but I'll tell you this though, if you're speaking of the fights, if you want to play for this weekend, you have Khalid Plant taking on Canelo Alvarez. So even if you're a novice boxing fan, obviously everyone knows who Canelo is. Don't be shocked if that is a late stoppage in favor of Canelo Alvarez.
All right, I got it. I'll put something down on that. I don't really handicap the fights, but I love to get some action on them.
Well, I don't want to get billed for this.
No, don't worry about it. I'll make it up to you with FBS next week.
All right, Corey. Always appreciate you, pal. Appreciate a couple moments.
My man, take care.
All right, you got it. There's our guy, Corey Parsons. Great stuff as always. Quick timeout.